All right, I'm upset about this again. I've had okay last couple of weeks where I haven't had to deal with this bullshit, but again, we've had the your connection is not working. Please wait while we reconnect. I don't know if it's due to YouTube or if it's just the computer because this computer is old. We need to get a new one. But I just decided, you know what, this is short shows this week, so I'm going to try to blow through this so I don't have to deal with this crap again. This is Dylan Knows episode 392A, disc track. I just finished episode 392, Day Drinking. Spent about 15 minutes on that one, and hopefully this one will be about 50 minutes as well. Shouldn't be as bad. Got a bunch to talk about. We're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, both in game and in movies. We're going to talk about Keanu Reeves. We're going to talk about the Pinocchio live action reboot. Did some casting, some Easter stuff, brand new legacy song musician is number one this week on Billboard. Some local news, milkshakes, inflatable stuff for the summer, Easter, Asterix, Netflix, Thunder Force, Diss Tracks, because the name of this episode is Diss Tracks, Tequila, Banksy's artwork is back, Baby Yoda appearance, Golden Globe winners, Gal Gadot, Seth Rogen, J.J. Watt, Powerball. Is life a simulation? We're going to find out. So we got a bunch of stuff we're going to cover here. Swedish fish jelly beans. We'll begin with that because Easter's rolling through here and jelly beans are always being created. Last week I talked about the Dunkin' Donuts cold brew coffee jelly beans that are out now. Well, now you can get Swedish fish jelly beans that taste like your favorite Swedish fish. So if you now have a wide variety of jelly beans you can try now. My family's favorite, of course, is the Starburst ones. They are really, really good. So that's pretty good. Pan Flake cereal from IHOP is a new thing now. It'll be a cereal they're creating, which is going to be tiny, syrupy pancake pieces you can eat for breakfast in your cereal. So that's pretty good. In the UK, a train was delayed when a cat jumped onto the roof of the train, sat there, and refused to come down. So it's kind of a cute little story. They didn't want to move the train because it would hurt the cat. So they had to try to coax the cat down. It took a while to get him off of there, but it finally was successful. McDonald's Pokemon cards. We're talking about how people have been trying to, wreck the curve on that, stealing stuff and buying them up and selling them on high accounts. Well, McDonald's Pokemon cards sold for $500 on eBay this week. That's absolutely unbelievable, but it's true. It did happen. Continuing to talk about Easter, Russell Stover, which is one of the, I guess, kind of a local, I don't know if it's around the country as well, but they have Easter chocolate bunnies that you can put in Easter baskets, or the Easter bunny puts in Easter baskets for you every year. But this year they're trying something different. They have created a chocolate bunny that comes with a side of Jif peanut butter. So you can break off the rabbit ears and dip it in the peanut butter and get your own sort of Reese's peanut butter cup thing sort of going on, but not Reese's, it's Russell Stover's. But speaking of Reese's, they keep changing their stuff all up. They've now come up with a all peanut butter Reese's cup. So if you like the peanut butter in the Reese's peanut butter cups, you can now buy one that is completely peanut butter. So I don't know if it's the same thing. The reason why Reese's peanut butter cups work so well is the mixture of peanut butter and chocolate, but that's just me. Speaking of team-ups, Pop-Tarts and Good Humor bars, which are your ice cream bars you have during the summer, are teaming up for the first ever Pop-Tart brown sugar cinnamon ice cream bar. So it is going to be an ice cream bar from Good Humor that's going to taste like a brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart. So that's pretty cool. Let's see what else. The Simpsons has been renewed from seasons 33 and 34. They're still now the longest running TV show, I think, of all time. They have 2 more seasons coming up over the next 2 years. I think they're going to maybe trying to go to season 50 maybe, and then that might be the end of it. That's 50 years though, man. I don't know if they can keep that up, but who knows. Maybe they'll drop out at 40 because that's about 6 years down the line. So we'll see what happens. Keanu Reeves, I talked about this last week. His first comic book that he co-wrote came out this past week from Boom Studios called Berserker. I bought a copy of it. I did not buy the special cover that was made especially for my comic shop. The main reason why is they were selling it for $20. I didn't want to spend that much for a comic, but I took a look at it and I haven't read it yet, but it doesn't seem like anything too spectacular. Just sort of like a unkillable fighting machine who likes to murder things. There's lots of blood and gore and stuff like that. So we'll see. But he co-wrote it. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe there's something to it. I don't know. Natural Light for this summer is going to create a new beer called a Nature Day beer. And it's going to lemonade. So that might be interesting because that's a flavor that I had not even really thought about what it would taste like mixing. I've had watermelon lemonade, which actually tastes pretty good. Strawberry lemonade, which is really, really good. Regular lemonade, pink lemonade. Blackberry lemonade is good also. Blueberry lemonade is actually pretty good too. But I've never tried a pineapple lemonade, and that might be an interesting thing to try next time you go do some stuff. Continuing with our summer theme, a bunch of inflatable stuff. I talked about some inflatable stuff and inflatable pants in the earlier show. 392 day drinking. Well, now we've got 3 more pool floats. One is a 3-way pool float that 3 people can use the float at once, which is not a kinky little thing, you perverts out there. It is particularly made, I think, for parents teaching their children how to swim or keep them safe. That way you and your spouse or your partner can have 2 of the 3 rings and your kid can have the 3rd one, or you could be 1 parent and 2 kids, that sort of stuff. So that's kind of a neat little thing there. A 21-foot retro pink limo float is now available also. It looks to be about the size of a pool. So I guess you wouldn't use it for that, maybe on the lake or probably not the ocean either because of the waves, but probably a lake or there's a big pool. But a 21-foot float is just really, really big, and most pools really aren't that big. You probably wouldn't be able to get it in there, but there is one there, so you can go ahead and it's probably more for lake stuff. As is this, probably an inflatable patio deck that can hold 10 people is also now for sale too. So you can put that in the middle of your lake also and just sort of be out in the middle of the lake, so that's good. So we've got some good summer stuff rolling through there. Summer also brings about yard sales, and a yard sale find surprised the world when someone discovered and bought a rare Chinese artifact that he bought at a yard sale for like 25 cents and discovered it is worth upwards of $500,000. Speaking of $500,000, a man, when you eat your Chinese food, where is that? When you eat your Chinese food and you get your fortune cookies, and you open the fortune cookie in there, it gives you your fortune. It also gives you lottery numbers. So this guy, just as a joke, decided he was going to play his lottery numbers he got on his fortune cookie. Well, in the Powerball, it hit, but not the big prize. The numbers he used from his fortune cookie got him, much like what this Chinese artifact did, $500,000 as well. So 500 seems to be numbers. There's $500 for the McDonald's Pokemon card, $500,000 Chinese artifact found at a yard sale, and now a guy who used his Chinese fortune cookie fortune numbers and won $500,000 there as well. So those are all kind of little interesting stories as well. Disney is closing 60 of the Disney stores they've got all across the country. Don't know if there's going to be one near you. We have about 3 or 4 near us. I'm sure one of them is probably going to shut down. Hopefully it won't be too long, and they'll be able to get it back up in there. A rare black leopard was caught on film in Africa for the first time ever in a century. Last week I talked about the possible Tasmanian tiger sighting picture, but I haven't heard anything about it. So obviously, it either wasn't true or it's been debunked. So, but I haven't heard either about the picture was real or it's been debunked. So I haven't heard anything about it. So it's supposed to be a March 1st deadline. Obviously, it's March 7th. So that was 6 days ago, and still no story about it. So don't know what's happening with that. As I said, we're talking about WandaVision. Elizabeth Olsen absolutely deserves Emmy nomination. Emmy nominations for WandaVision once the nominations come out for next year. She absolutely should be up there for an Emmy nom. She really should. It would be a crime if she isn't. But as those who may or may not know, her sisters, her older sisters, are the famous Olsen twins, Mary-Kate and Ashley. Well, because Elizabeth is now getting a lot of the focus now with WandaVision, people have been doing a dive through old footage of her as a child, because she was always around Mary-Kate and Ashley when they were huge during the 90s. And they've discovered some interesting things. One was John Stamos, who worked with the Olsen twins on Full House, had the pleasure of running into Elizabeth as a child as well, because she was there with her sisters, and he enjoyed playing with her like he played with the sisters, and was a good guy about it. Now he's like surprised about how it's how great that she's now making her own way, and that he just remembers her as that little girl that would always walk around the set of Full House, and that's kind of cute. But Mary-Kate and Ashley, because they are older siblings and siblings have a rivalry, a diss track, hence the name of this episode, of them dissing their sister Elizabeth Olsen when they were younger has surfaced. I haven't heard it yet. Obviously, it was a time when they were teens or something like that, and it was probably not done out of malicious intent, just being typical sibling bullshit. But it's just kind of funny that there is a diss track out there about Elizabeth. And honestly, they don't need to do that much, because they've had a very successful career, and they've parlayed that into still being successful, though they might not be as famous. But Elizabeth has now made her own way and absolutely deserves Emmy consideration next year. And it would be a crime if she doesn't. Speaking of, what's the word? I used it earlier. I can't think of it right now, but generational sort of stuff. Wolfgang Van Halen, which is Eddie Van Halen's first oldest son, has the #1 song on Billboard this week with his debut single "Discover," I believe it is. So Wolfgang Van Halen has started his career off in a big way with the #1 single in America this week. So hopefully he'll be able to parlay that into a long career and be able to maybe get a little bit of away from the Van Halen name, which a lot of people are saying that's probably why it made a lot of money, because he is Eddie's son and because Eddie recently passed away. So, but it must be good because it was #1. So I haven't heard it yet, so we'll have to wait and see what that's all about. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about how a woman who was trying to sell her house was not getting any bites on it. Woke up one morning, discovered a Banksy original art piece had been put on her house overnight, and it has now turned it into a massive bidding war for the house now. And is now expected to net her close to $1 million. Anyway, Banksy's at it again. Supposedly, a possible Banksy artwork was discovered on the Reading prison out in Reading, England. So that could be a possibility that could be changing, that Banksy's still out there doing crazy stuff like that. The Alamo Drafthouse has filed for Chapter 11. Movie theaters are suffering the most, or one of the ones suffering the most for this during this pandemic, stuff like that. And it just makes a lot of sense. They're reorganizing under Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Doesn't mean they're going to shut down completely, but they're going to have to reorganize. And hopefully things will get back to normal for them in about a year, 2 years. And it'll all be a bad dream. So we'll see about that. One thing that can help that along is Without Remorse is a book written by the late Tom Clancy, famous for Hunt for October, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger. Without Remorse features a younger version of a character that appeared in Clear and Present Danger, who in the movie was played by Willem Dafoe. And originally, back in the 90s, they were supposed to make a film version of it, starring Gary Sinise as the younger version of Willem Dafoe's character in Without Remorse. But due to whatever reason, they were never able to ground, and then the whole Tom Clancy thing sort of disappeared, and they've done some things. They've done the Jack Ryan TV show on Amazon, and they tried to reboot it with Chris Pine and a few stuff as well, and Kevin Costner, and it didn't quite work out. But they decided to give it another go, give Without Remorse another go. And the first trailer for it has popped up. It stars Michael B. Jordan as the character now, is a like a black ops sort of person whose family gets wiped out by a bunch of people seeking revenge for what he did in the black ops stuff. So he decides to go undercover to wipe them out on his own, to get revenge for his family, that type of thing. So it is based on the Tom Clancy novel, and if successful, could lead to maybe a rebirth of the Tom Clancy stuff, because they are interesting enough stuff. The films were hugely popular, and the characters are really interesting too. So it would be interesting to see if they can do something with that. So we'll see. That's going to be coming out on Amazon, I believe, sometime in April. Let's see what else we're going to talk about. Gore Verbinski. He's directed a bunch of movies. Mouse Hunt is the only one that pops in my head right now, but he's done a bunch of other ones as well. Is going to be directing George R. R. Martin's novel Sand Kings. He's going to make an adaptation of that for Netflix. I don't know much about Sand Kings, but that could be interesting. And everybody knows George R. R. Martin for Game of Thrones, but he's written a ton of other stuff as well. This is one, and there's also, what's the other one? And Paul W.S. Anderson will be directing a George R. R. Martin story called In the Lost Lands, with his wife Mila Jovovich and actor David Bautista. So George R. R. Martin's other works are going to start getting a little bit more love. Wild Cards is another good one I think they should revisit. It's about superheroes that he wrote a bunch of stories and then got a bunch of other writers to write stories based in his Wild Card world. I think it's kind of a neat idea, and that might be a fun thing to do. Also, we have Netflix is greenlighting the first ever animated Asterix limited series, which is absolutely a crime that Asterix has not received a animated series of any kind, or movie for that matter, ever that I know of, according to this. I mean, I could be wrong, because Asterix is hugely popular over in Europe, but it's not really that popular over here in America. But if they can make a really good Asterix animated limited series, it might be worth a while to check it out. So that's a pretty good idea. Check that out. I didn't really know a lot about this. I sort of skipped over it when I saw the trailer for it, but I watched it before I did this episode. Netflix is releasing, I think it said April 9th, a movie called Thunder Force, which stars Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer, and has a Jason Bateman cameo in it, about two old friends who reconnect, and one of the friends discovers the other has created a way to give people superpowers, and the other friend accidentally gets superpowers. So the two of them have superpowers. One has invisibility, one has super strength. And so they become the heroes of the modern age, called Thunder Force, but that also creates villains who want to take them down as well, and they have to work together to try to do that. And then more heroes start making their appearances. So it looks cute, it looks interesting, and that might be one worth checking out when it comes out next month as well. Cynthia Erivo will be playing the Blue Fairy, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt has been cast as Jiminy Cricket in Robert Zemeckis' live-action Pinocchio, which will also star Tom Hanks as Geppetto. So that cast is starting to come together again. This will make Zemeckis' third remake or second. At least the second, because he did The Witches in so much time. So we'll see. But the cast seems to be coming together for this one. It might be pretty good like that. Dungeons and Dragons is getting a huge thing. As I said, my wife and daughter are really into that as well. I bought my wife a starter set for her birthday, so they're going to start playing that as well. But Dungeons and Dragons is going to be getting a third-person open-world computer RPG game. So fans, I guess part of the fun part of it is to create your characters and do it old school tabletop. But if you don't want to do that, but want to get involved in the RPG style aspect of an open world Dungeons and Dragons, you can do the same stuff but do it online. It's not a bad idea, and that could open it up for a lot more people and get more people interested in it. Granted, as I said, people more interested in the old school tabletop version of it, but whatever. But then we also have the live action Dungeons and Dragons movie. They've done a whole bunch of casting. I talked about some of it, but this is the cast they presently have right now. Chris Pine, Hugh Grant will be playing the bad guy. Michelle Rodriguez, Sophia Lillis, Justice Smith, and Regé Jean Pierre, or something like that, will be in the version of the live action film, which will probably be out sometime next year. Girl Scouts cookie milkshakes were at a Michigan bakery, and it was only for 1 week only, but they created milkshakes based on the Girl Scout cookies. So that was really an amazing thing. I said Easter's coming really soon. Peeps are back, and now you can get a Peeps cake in a cup. You can actually get one of the the popular make cake in a mug sort of things. You put all the ingredients in a mug, put it in the microwave, and it creates a cake. Well, you now have one that has based on Peeps for Easter morning breakfast if you want. On the other end, an all-you-can-drink tequila train ride through Mexico is now a thing as well. So if you like tequila and you like trains and you want to discover Mexico, there you go. Baby Yoda has invaded the game Operation. You can now get a Baby Yoda Operation game, but I don't think you're actually operating on Baby Yoda. It's stuff around his cart and stuff like that. So don't worry about hurting Baby Yoda. It's just a fun little game there. Finally, some local news that could be very exciting. For those who don't know, Maryland is one of the only states in the United States that does not sell alcohol in grocery stores. So if you go into a Weis or a Giant or Safeway or like a Lord and Taylor, not Lord and Taylor either, but any grocery store really, you cannot buy alcohol. But you go out of state, particularly Virginia for sure. I know that because my sister lives in Virginia. I know I can do that. Or I think maybe in Pennsylvania, you can go to your local Giant and they have an alcohol section as well. Well, there is a bill that has been brought up into the Maryland House of Representatives or their Senate or whatever. The government, the Maryland government has put a bill out to vote to allow beer and wine sales in grocery stores. That in turn hopefully would also drop the cannot sell alcohol on Sundays, which we still have on our books as well. It's a blue law here. There are a few loopholes. If your liquor store is connected to a restaurant that is presently open, you can stay open and sell alcohol if you want. But regular liquor stores are closed on Sundays because they are not allowed to sell alcohol on Sunday due to the blue laws. But if this passes, you have to be able to sell alcohol on Sunday because you can't just cut off a whole section in a grocery store for no sales. So that would be a double sort of change. It would be they would no longer have the blue laws on the books with no alcohol sales on Sunday, and they would sell in the grocery store. I don't know why it's taking Maryland so long to do this. They still have very strict shipping alcohol to the state, so wine clubs, stuff like that, they've been eased a little bit, so you can get wine club stuff like that, but it's also really hard to get alcohol shipped into your home address now. And hopefully all this, if this passes, we'll be able to fix all that. I still don't know what the hell this is. I'm just going to... That archaeologists find an almost intact Roman chariot near Pompeii. Apparently there's been a huge Pompeii archaeological dig recently because I've been doing a bunch of stories, people discovering stuff in Pompeii. Well, now here is an actual almost intact Roman chariot, which I think is really, really kind of neat. The first time in 100 years a wolf has been spotted in Yosemite. I think I mentioned that last week as well, but I'm not sure about that as well. Um, Strawberry frosted donut Oreos are now out in grocery stores. I bought a pack of it, and they're okay. It tastes like strawberry cream. Really, it's supposed to have it has like a donut sort of layer to it, but I don't really get a donut flavor from it. The strawberry is so overwhelming that it's just basically like eating a strawberry Oreo. But it's okay. I mean, if you like strawberry, it's good enough to try, but I don't think it's quite strawberry frosted donut flavor, though. There might be. I mean, strawberry frosted donuts don't really have a lot of taste except for the strawberry anyway, so it's possible. But it was okay. As I said, it's not terrible, but it's okay. Now, I talked about Fortnite and having Ant-Man as the new skin. I think they absolutely need to do a RoboCop skin because RoboCop has one of the absolute best designs of any character, and Detroit agrees because the movie takes place in Detroit. So a crowdfunding, excuse me, crowdfunding event happened where they made money to make a RoboCop statue, and it made the money it needed to, and the statue has been made, and it has been revealed this week. So that's fantastic. I talked about Melissa McCarthy earlier with her Thunder Force movie. She's also been rumored to be in Thor: Love and War. She will be playing the role of Hela. Now it looks like we're going to be going back to having theater people redo what happened in the previous movie, because remember, in Thor Ragnarok you had Matt Damon and Liam Hemsworth, who is Chris Hemsworth's brother, and Sam Neill acting out what happened in the previous Thor movie for Odin, who was possessed by Loki. It looks like that's going to happen again because Melissa McCarthy has been shown on set playing Hela. Matt Damon has appeared as the same person again. No word if Liam Hemsworth is going to be in it as well, but that's good. But there's been some other stuff that's been coming out of Thor: Love and War, or Thor: Love and Thunder, excuse me, thing. Buffed Natalie Portman. She's taking the job seriously. She's got herself buffed up now, and so there are shots of her in her buffness, and also her getting Mjolnir. Tessa Thompson also will be appearing as Valkyrie. She has been spotted on set riding the same horse that she did in Endgame, so that looks like that's going to be sticking around for a while. So Love and Thunder is moving right along. Probably, I think that's due out next year, so we're good for that. Fluffernutter brownies is a thing. Fluffernutters are peanut butter and marshmallow fluff sandwiches, so now they have a peanut butter and marshmallow flavored brownie you can get now. Gal Gadot is pregnant again, so congratulations to her and her husband. I talked about Mark Millar's, like, a lot of his stuff not making it on Netflix despite having a deal with Netflix, and some of the stuff that he had created is not being done by Netflix. And then they said, oh yeah, Jupiter's Legacy is going to be coming out in May. I was like, really? I haven't seen a damn thing about it. Well, they must have heard me on the show, because this week they revealed the first photos of the set of Jupiter's Legacy. So we know it is live action, we know it is a thing, and we know it'll be coming in May. So that's going to be, I think they're going to be trying for their version of The Boys with that. So we'll see what happens with that. J.J. Watt, the Houston Texans pass rusher, who's been unhappy with the Texans and has played there his whole life, has got his release from the Texans and has been predicted where he might end up. He might end up in Green Bay, since he's from Wisconsin. He might end up in Pittsburgh because his brothers play there. But no, he surprised everybody by signing with the Arizona Cardinals. So he will be playing with the Arizona Cardinals this year for football. The Time Traveler's Wife, which is a show based on the movie, has cast Theo James and Rose Leslie as the two leads in that one. That could be an interesting show as well if you know anything about The Time Traveler's Wife. It's pretty interesting. A physicist created an AI algorithm that may prove that our reality is a simulation, much like at the Matrix. So, whoopee, I guess. Seth Rogen has launched his own cannabis and ceramics business called Houseplant. Not really any big surprise there. But hey, here we go. LA restaurant Spoon closes after a high-tech dine-and dash scheme ruined them. So, those types of schemes are ruining, proper businesses. So you got to be careful about that. Dominique Thorne, newcomer, is to star as Riri Williams in the Iron Heart show from Disney Plus, which is a genius young black girl who is able to build Iron Man caliber armor. And Tony Stark in the comics allows her to, gives her money to spread out her, ability to do this, and creates Ironheart and becomes a hero. Obviously, Tony Stark's dead, so we're going to figure out how it's going to. But she does have her own show coming up in the near future. People find a bobcat frozen to train tracks, and they help the bobcat get away. It's always great when people help these crazy animals. I have no idea what this says, so I'm not even going to even attempt it. And finally, for tonight's episode, this week's episode, we're going to talk the Golden Globe winners. Some interesting winners here. Let's see. Let me just pull up the list here and just give you a quick rundown of everything. Okay. A lot of winners you expect, but particularly in the movies, there were some you didn't expect. So for motion pictures, the best motion picture drama was Nomadland, which starred Frances McDormand and is directed by newcomer. I'll talk about her in a second, actually. So we'll talk about her in a second. So that won Best Picture. Best performance by an actress in a motion picture drama was Andra Day for the United States versus Billie Holiday. Best performance by an actor in a motion picture drama was Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So he got a posthumous award for that. Here's a surprise for you. Best motion picture musical or comedy, Borat, subsequent movie film. Beat Hamilton, Music, Palm Springs, and The Prom. So that's crazy. Best performance by an actress in a motion picture musical or comedy, Rosamund Pike for I Care a Lot. Best performance, here's another surprise. Best performance by an actor in a motion picture musical or comedy, Sacha Baron Cohen for Borat, subsequent movie film, which is absolutely insane. Best motion picture animated was Soul. Yes. Best motion picture foreign language was Minari. Best performance by an actress in a supporting role in any motion picture, Jodie Foster for The Mauritanian. Best performance by an actor in a supporting role in any motion picture, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah. Best director motion picture was Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. Now, Chloe Zhao is the one I told you about. She won for Nomadland for the Golden Globe, but she is the hottest director out there now because she just had her new script idea sold, and she'll be directing a vampire western, which I talked about in the show a couple weeks ago. She also, I discovered this week, is the director of Marvel's The Eternals, which I think is absolutely insane that we haven't seen anything from The Eternals. She made The Eternals before she made Nomadland. So that's how crazy this is. So I want to see what's going on with that. I want to see something for The Eternals, but the fact is Chloe Zhao is now the hottest director in the country right now. Best screenplay motion picture was Aaron Sorkin for The Trial of Chicago 7. Best original score motion picture, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, John Baptiste for Soul. Absolutely worth it. Best original song motion picture, IOC, Scene from the Life Ahead. And then we get into the television. Best television series drama, The Crown by Netflix. Best performance by an actress in television series drama, Emma Corrin, The Crown. Best performance by an actor in television series drama, Josh O'Connor, The Crown. Best television series musical or comedy, Schitt's Creek. Obviously, everybody expected that. Best performance by an actress in a television series musical or comedy, Catherine O'Hara, Schitt's Creek. Best performance by an actor in television series musical or comedy, Jason Sudeikis from Ted Lasso. Best television limited series, anthology series, or motion picture made for television, The Queen's Gambit by Netflix. Best performance by an actress in a limited series, anthology series, or motion picture made for television, Anya Taylor-Joy for The Queen's Gambit. Best performance by an actor in a limited series, anthology series, or motion picture made for television, Mark Ruffalo for I Know This Much Is True. Best performance by an actress in a television supporting role, Gillian Anderson, The Crown. Best performance by an actor in a television supporting role, John Boyega for Small Axe. And that's the big ones. But the fact is, everybody loves The Crown, everybody loves Schitt's Creek, and everybody loves Chadwick Boseman. So some interesting stuff here. And that is your Golden Globe winners. So now we are waiting for the Academy Award nominees, which I believe are coming up March 15th. And then the Academy Awards itself will be April 25th, late this year due to COVID. Just a word of warning for programming. I will be doing my annual Academy Awards show that weekend. Usually that weekend I do 2 shows. I do my Academy Award show and I do a regular show like this during that weekend. I totally plan on doing that again, but still that's a month and a half away. Long ways to go before we get to that, but we will be doing that down the line. Will our be past, that'd be right around episode 400 then, I guess. So we'll see. So on that note, I was disappointed I had to do a 2-parter, but que sera, sera, that's what happens. Thanks for watching. Next week, hopefully I won't have this problem. Next week will be, I guess, leading into St. Patrick's Day, since it'll be the weekend before St. Patrick's Day. And a whole bunch of other stuff as well. We'll be covering that. So hopefully it'll be a good week and not a bad week. And it's going to be a warm week here in the Mid-Atlantic. We'll be getting in the 60s and 70s. So that's going to be exciting as well. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. And I'm sorry that I had to split it in 2, but hopefully sometime maybe we'll get a new computer and things will be better. Thank you very much. I'm going to try to end this stream to be right at 36 minutes. So thank you. Bye.